Hey guys, it's your friend Adam online, Tao of Adam on Instagram, as well as YouTube and even Twitter. You can follow me in all those places. I want to talk with you guys about the top 5 regrets of the dying. You can see, probably not very well here on my tablet, there are 5 things they have discovered people who are about to die really regret on their deathbed. And I did not tell any of my friends that I'm doing this, and I'm just going for it. I have a close friend. His name is Vernon Mahabal. He is a palm reader. Actually, he's called an astrological palmist. And when I first met him, and we're going to get into the 5 regrets in just a moment, but I got to tell you the story first. When I first met Vernon, he was actually in front of, hello, one viewer. Give me a shout, please, and give me a share, and let's stay tuned. I'm going to give you some good information. I want to hear your feedback on this. So my friend Vernon was doing palmistry at a table set up in front of like an Indian-style restaurant many years ago in Venice Beach, California. I had just come off of like an OkCupid date. I was single at the time. Now I've got a beautiful girlfriend, Jennifer, who's actually not here with me. And I was kind of bummed out, and I didn't like my life at the time. And I kind of wanted to meet him and talk to him because I had a bad experience with a palm reader that I didn't pay for years before, just someone I was sitting next to in a taxi cab. And I let that palm reader look at my hand. I didn't like what he said. So I sat down, I talked to this other palm reader, Vernon, and Vernon was like, hey, that guy was an idiot, sit down, let me look at your hand. And I didn't have much money to give him. He wanted 30 bucks for the reading. It said on his sign, he said, don't worry about it, just sit down, let me look at your hand. And I thought, if this guy gets anything right, I'll give him all the cash I have in my wallet, which was just a couple bucks at the time. But and I do it much better now. But basically, Vernon told me I need to be like people like Ty Lopez. He didn't say the name Ty Lopez, but I need to be teaching what I'm learning to others, I guess, in sort of a mentor capacity. So which is why I'm launching this video now, even though I'm inexperienced. And we're going to get into the top 5 regrets of the dying. So thanks to Vernon's encouragement, I want to share with you guys. This, I think, is a very powerful thing. If you've never heard this before, please give me a thumbs up and a share, because your friends are going to want to learn about this just to live a happy life. I'm not here to sell anything. We're actually here to talk about how we can make our lives happier. And I'm so sorry if that's backwards, so I'm going to read it to you. Number 1 says, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So there was I think it was a woman who did this research and came up with this infographic. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. I'll post it below later. But she researched people that were on their deathbeds, people that are about to die. And I'm just actually now watching a YouTube video, a TED Talk about wisdom from people that are on death row. And I'm going to get into that later. But wishing you had lived a life true to yourself and not the life that others expected of you. I wonder how often that happens in your life, or even in my life growing up when I was younger. I remember my parents, my mom and dad, saying things like, you know, you should probably become a doctor or a lawyer. They make good money and they have comfortable lives. Not those exact words, but you know, your parents probably said something to you. Go get a good education, and then you can get the job you want. That was the most common thing I heard. Get yourself a real good education, and when you graduate, you can do whatever you want. Well, probably not the best advice, right? You get yourself a good education, and then you go do whatever you want. Hey, 4 years of college might drive you crazy. You might want to grab a gun and go shoot up a mob of people, which is what's happening all the time now in our country. And I think college is a scam personally, but I think if I could do it over again, I probably wouldn't have gone to college, because that was something that other people expected of me. And it's just a societal pressure. There's societal pressures in so many areas, including like things like getting married. I'm living out in Utah right now. And guess what? Getting married out here was something that was very different from the way the rest of society did it. There used to be polygamy out here. One man had many wives. Well, how many people would look at you funny and say, I expect you to only have one spouse, because that's the way everyone else has done it. Now, I'm just challenging the logic there and the thought that other people have an expectation. You got to do things a certain way, but you don't necessarily have to do it the way they want you to do it. You can do it the way you want to do it. So, I'm not digging very deep there, but that's regret number 1. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So maybe you want to be an adventurer, mountain climber. You don't want to be in a cubicle. Perhaps you should take some time off from that cubicle job and go live the life that you want to live. So number 2 regret is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And I'm learning that now that I'm almost 40 years old and I have my own place. And believe it or not, I have a sink of dishes waiting over there. It's not too bad. But I'm actually letting the dishes sit there because I don't have to do them, and I could afford to pay someone to come and do them if I want to. And I'm not going to do that either. I'm probably just going to throw them in the dishwasher later. But, oh, look at this. Jenny just sent me a message. I regret coming here. I'm sorry, we lost the connection there. I actually got a text from my girlfriend saying she regrets what she's doing. She wished she had rather stayed with me. So that's interesting. There's a regret right there on the text messages. Should tell Jenny to tune into my YouTube video live. Anyhow, so regret number 2 is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. So I would think you would want to take time off from your job if you're working way too hard. Like I was an Uber driver and I would grind it out and I would end up in the middle of nowhere across town and I had to drive all the way home, sometimes with no customers. I'm like, I'm working too hard. And I would just teach myself, you got to take some time off. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, advice he got from someone who had already become a millionaire when Robert launched his business and became very successful. The advice from his friend was, Robert, take a vacation. And I think it sounded strange to him at the time to hear that advice, but when you've reached a milestone, you have so much money saved up, you do, in a way, need to take a vacation, take time to reflect, not just to go have fun, but also to reflect and think about what your next move is going to be. And some people are cut differently, and like they say Bill Gates worked like so many years without a day off. I don't think he never truly had one day off. I think he rested quite a bit, you know, in between the days of work. But yeah, he might have spent every day focusing on his business. Maybe not physical, you know, break your back kind of labor, but you know, it was very interesting. I'm gonna call Jenny because she's texting me now, but I'm gonna finish this up with you guys. And number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. So it sounds like a lot of people keep what they really feel inside bottled up, and I've had to have, believe it or not, conversation with I'll just talk about relationships and checking out other people. Like since I've been dating Jenny, other people have like been around us in our social circles and whatnot, where I'm just like, hey, I think that person's really pretty. And Jenny's like, well, why don't you leave me then and go after them? And I thought about it, you know, I'm glad I expressed my true feeling. I'm kind of glad, kind of not, but I'm kind of glad at least I got it out there so I know how she also feels. But then I realized how I truly feel is I don't want to go after some other good-looking person or good-looking girl that I just saw for a moment. I'm much happier with who I have and who I'm been building a relationship with for 2 years. But I think if you're in a bad relationship, for instance, you ought to really express your true feelings to the other person. If it's abusive, you might need to express what's going on to someone else who's going to protect you before you confess your feelings to the abuser, because that could get really bad. Not probably the best person to speak about that. But I did have a loving mother and father. My father was a real hard go-getter, and sometimes he got upset with the family. My mom got upset with us too. But, you know, there's times where I was able to look at my parents as a kid and I was able to just tell them truly how I felt and yell back at them. And it actually sometimes got to the root of the problem because you're expressing what you're truly feeling inside rather than lying about it or sugarcoating it or not expressing it exactly the way you need to say it. And I think it's almost like having a wound that's festering, like a cut or a scab or something, and you've got a Band-Aid on it, but you need to replace the Band-Aid. So expressing your true feelings is taking off that Band-Aid, showing the wound that's there, getting it cleaned out, and then bandaging it back up, for lack of a better analogy. So express your true feelings is number 3. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. This is something I'm feeling more and more every day because I'm out in the middle of nowhere in a town of about 200-300 people, and I only get to see my close friends. And I say close friends with quotes around it because they're so far away. I only get to see them like on social media, Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that. So I'm at the point where I'm like ready to like pay for like a friend to like fly out or visit me. But what I'm actually doing is I'm going to be going to visit them in Los Angeles. And I'm actually just reached out to my friend Eric Fick, who was somebody I grew up with as a teenager. Hadn't seen him in over 20 years, but we're still connected on Facebook. And I just sent him my number tonight like, hey, dude, I didn't realize you're an Uber driver now. I used to be an Uber driver 2 years ago. Let's talk for a little bit. So I think you'll find a lot of happiness at the end of your life does not come from the money you make. Because I have more money now than I've ever had in my life, which isn't much compared to like millionaires and people who make $100,000 a year or more. But the money and the comfort is great. But the loneliness of being alone, like now that Jenny's been gone for a week, it's more, I don't want to say the word meaningful. The loneliness is more tangible. Like it's more, it's probably like the most pressing issue, the most pressing need I have. Like God said in the Bible, when God created, and I'm a deist. I believe that the universe has intelligent design, that there's an alpha and omega, a beginning and an end. I believe a lot of crazy stuff. I think the whole universe is going to collapse on itself someday, which science is predicting can happen, and which Jesus said would happen. But he didn't say that in the Gospels or the canonized Bible. Jesus said that actually in one of the lost books of the Bible. That's the Gospel of the 12, and in the writings of Thomas, you'll find where Jesus says all of nature is going to collapse on itself someday. Those are not his exact words, but I swear to you that's written somewhere, and I'll have to find that verse someday. But it's fascinating. I'm a deist. I believe in creation. And what I wanted to get to the point of what I'm trying to make here is God said it's not good for man to be alone. So God created, the earth, the universe, and then the animals, and then man was the epitome of God's creation. It was the last thing that God formed. And he just made apparently one man, and then he made woman to be his man's partner. And but the statement is not good to be alone. It's pretty obvious to most people. There's solitary confinement in prison, which is one of the worst kinds of punishment because it drives a person crazy to the point where they want to die, to where some people in solitary confinement bash their head against the wall to kill themselves because they can't take it anymore because it's so incredibly mentally painful. And so that's lesson number 4. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends more. And another part of it too is having true friends and people that are going to be there with you because they really do want to get your back, because of a sincerity that's within them, not just that they're getting your back because you're going to get their back too, which is like a tit for tat, or not because they're your friend because you have the money or you have the car, or you have something they need and you're going to help them back. It's a very superficial friendship, and I think a lot of people probably have that kind of friendship. Like my friend Gary that I just went boating with today, and you can see our boating footage on my Twitter, and I'll probably get on YouTube later. Like, he's a good friend, I would say, not just because we both share the same faith, but because I know he's the kind of person who's also going to get my back if I need it, and I'm going to get his back. Tomorrow I'm going to help him with the swamp cooler, which is an air conditioning system. So stay in touch with your friends. Lesson number 4. Number 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. Now that's interesting, because do you ever think of needing to let yourself be happy? Number 5 on there. I know it's backwards. I wish I had let myself be happier. So most people, I don't think you think about letting yourself be happy. You just think either I'm happy or I'm not happy. But to let yourself be happy implies that you're also able to not let yourself be happy. You're able to put yourself in a mental state where you're choosing to not be happy. And I just, like my buddy Eric, I was checking out his Facebook. I'm like, man, he looks happy in like all his photos. And with his family, with a cigar in his mouth, he's like always happy. I need to learn from this guy because I'm not always that happy. And I could make changes in my life to just do things and count my blessings and be a happier person all the time. So I'm going to keep that one real short because I think it's not that complicated. So the top 5 regrets of the dying again, you guys. I wanted to share this infographic with you because I don't think enough people know about this. And I think it's very critical power information. If you're into stuff like Ty Lopez or Grant Cardone or just self-development, I think this video I'm making will really help you out too. So remember, don't live life with regrets. Especially check these 5 in your own life. Number 1, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And I'll just turn it around so it's facing the right way here. Let me see, tap on this button here and we turn it around. There we go. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And number 5, I wish I let myself be happier. And Eric, you got your face on my video. Lucky guy. Just making you famous, buddy. So thanks a lot for watching the video, you guys. If you enjoyed this small lesson here, not quite a lecture, please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing more stuff like this. I was a broke Uber and Lyft driver in the past. I'm doing much better now because I hustled and grind for a few years and I took advantage of some other opportunities. I'm going to LA to meet Ty Lopez and get with his inner circle this winter, as well as I'm going to learn computer programming, hopefully. Got a book for dummies. So other regrets, I think, if there could be a number 6 regret, I think it would be I wish I had learned certain things that I never let myself learn. I was too busy watching Game of Thrones or Britney Spears or Justin Bieber or whatever, too busy living other people's lives vicariously. You think about it, we spent probably a lot of time vicariously living through other people's experiences there's a, you know, you're probably not Justin Bieber. If you're Justin Bieber watching this video, thanks for watching, Justin. But you're probably not a celebrity watching this video. You're probably somebody who has a long way to go. And I'm going to share with you guys this book too in the future. It's called Thoughts on Success. My dad got me this book. It's been very helpful. So let's just pick a random quote in here. Oh, here's a good one. Benjamin Franklin. Money never made a man happy yet, nor will it. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. It's an interesting one to think about. So that was kind of random, but hey guys, I'm so excited that you're watching, and thanks for being a part of my channel. And we just covered the top 5 regrets of the dying. So please stay tuned for more great videos like this, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.